does have something to do with my sermon. Or homily. Somebody asked me that after the 8 o'clock. What was the difference? I don't know.
How long?
How long? Which one's longer? This is going to be a sermon. How much tape do you have?
A bunch.
Enough?
Enough.
So your takeaway from the readings today should not be that if you're not doing well, you get to have manure for a year and then leave. And I know that did I say that too quickly? I know that sometimes that's what life feels like. And actually all of our readings today are about what happens just in living life. There are things that happen. I don't have to tell you this. You and I know that there are challenges, sometimes very big challenges, that happen because we are alive. There are some people who believe that if you become Christian, you don't have to suffer anymore. I'm not sure that they've ever read the Bible. And I'm sure that they don't know the story of Jesus. The takeaway that we need to, from these different readings, which thanks once again, Bob. Not that he picked them, but he picked me for this Sunday. You know, they're challenging to hear. Especially Corinthians and the gospel. It's hard for us to listen to all that and to think, what's going on? The temple columns are falling down, 23,000 people died in one day, 12 died here, 12, it's like, great. Well, in truth, it sounds like the headlines to our newspaper, doesn't it? So let's go to Exodus. Exodus, the story that we're hearing about today, is God in the very beginnings of the revelation of who God is to God's people. Last week we heard about Abraham and being able to have descendants that numbered more than the countless stars in the sky. And today we hear about Moses and the people who are caught in slavery. Their culture has been taken away from them, their language, their customs, who they are as a people. And they are being beaten. And they have cried out to God for mercy. In this reading, God reveals to Moses in the burning bush, I have heard the cry of the poor. I have heard their cries. Moses sees a burning bush, and sometimes when we hear these things that seem not quite real, we think it's mythological, and we can link God into some mythological, kind of sort of. We don't have to debate whether it was a real burning bush or not a burning bush, or how did that happen, and blah, 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 blah. Not the point. The point is, Moses had an experience of God. And the truth is, when you and I have experiences of God, our language doesn't fit. Our language is a language of limits. We have 26 letters in the alphabet. God is way beyond all the possible combinations of those 26 letters. So Moses has to say it in a way that gives us the idea. This was something that is beyond us. Something that takes our ordinary world and makes it extraordinary. To get our attention that we are on holy ground, take off your sandals. God is different than we are. And what did God say to Moses? I have heard the cry of the poor. I will lead in deliverance. Here it is. I will be with you. I will be with you. No matter what, Moses, I will be That's part of who God is to us. A God who says, I will be with you. God is not fair weather. God isn't just there in our lives when things are happy. God is with us in some of the worst, most difficult, challenging days of our lives. You and I know that if we have a friend, a partner, a spouse, someone who is willing to stand with us in our moments of difficulty, they are precious indeed. They are worth so much, because in our hardest moments, we know that they are there with us. This is what God is saying. I will be with you in your life. I will be with you. And then Moses. We got to give credit to all these people. They just didn't get it. Well, we don't really either. A whole lot of days. Truth. Moses said, okay, so you're going to lead us out of Israel? That sounds good. All the Hittites and the Mezrites and the Jebusites and the they all have names for their gods. One of them looks like a calf. What do you want us to call you? I am who am. God didn't really give us his name. He once again gave us a mystery. So like God. There's no way God could have given us a name. There's no way. What he is saying in that phrase is, I am the one that caused it all to happen. All, everything exists because I willed it to be. I am beyond the stars. I'm beyond the burning bush. I'm beyond the mountain. I'm beyond anything that you can possibly think of. I am beyond it. I am who am. Now, the burning bush teaches us that God is beyond us, holy. Words of God in relationship with us. I will be with you. And the God that reveals, I am. This is no small God that we believe in. This God is so big that we are not able to begin to think how big that is. You and I cannot imagine what it is like that all of the worlds, all of the universe, everything that we've ever seen, experienced, touched, or done, God has been with us. And God is out on Alpha Centauri and wherever else there is beyond that. You and I cannot imagine that. But listen, what God has said in God's greatness to us. Listen. I will be with you. Yeah, but what if we have an earthquake? I will be with you. What if the daffodils come up? I will be with you. What if I will be with you. I will be. Have you ever heard the cry of the poor? Oh? children's stomachs growling? There's something we can do about that. You mean we're supposed to act a little bit like God in the world and help one another? Where do you and I hear the cry of the poor? You see, we have God within us. And that means that when we hear the cry of the poor, there's something we can do about it. And there's many ways for us to hear the cry of the poor. There's many ways for us to show that the God who is with us has liberated us and brought us to the fullness of life. And if God is too big for all of us to figure out, and way beyond every kind of vocabulary that we've ever discovered, every kind of alphabet that we've ever written, here are words that will help us understand God being with us, God holy, God who is all and beyond all. Love. That's our best word. We hear the cry of the poor, whether it is in our heart or the hearts of children that we have never seen and never looked, or whether it's in the coat that we bring, or the daffodil that we plant, or the flower that we give to the person that's sick, or the smile that we give to the person at the store that's having a bad day. How we hear the cry of the poor is how we respond to our brothers and sisters who are in need. That is how we know that God is with us. That's what Jesus tells us. You see, they didn't get it in the Old Testament. They were working at it, but they didn't quite get it. So when Jesus speaks about the I ams, he tells us that he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He tells us that he is the bread of life, the sustenance of all life. He tells us that he is a gatekeeper. I am the gatekeeper. I am the good shepherd. I am the light of the world. I am the vine and the branch. I am. He teaches us God is love. Now that's a language you and I can talk about God. My little Tanzanian chicken reminds us. I called him a Haitian chicken this morning. He had to talk to me about that. My little Tanzanian chicken reminds me and reminds all of us. Part of our ministry and our mission to the world is to hear the cry of the poor. And part of our response to the cry of the poor, wherever it is to bring love. Remember, God, who is of all, has made you these promises. I will be with you.